Hello and welcome to Colin's Time to Bake. This week, seeing as it's Christmas soon, I am making a holly wreath cake. But not just any old holly wreath cake, this holly wreath cake is filled with whiskey. What? I'm Scottish, it's tradition to have a wee nip. Let's start by preheating your oven to 190 degrees. Take 250 grams of butter and cream together with 300 grams of sugar. Whisk 3 eggs and 1 yolk in one at a time. Then add 200 grams of plain flour. Mix in with 50 grams of cocoa powder. Add in 100 grams of melted dark chocolate, around 74%, and then add 50 grams of sour cream. Now it's time to add the whiskey. So add 3 tablespoons of the whiskey, mix this in, and then add 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk so you can reach a thick cream-like consistency. Add in 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Now take a 23cm bundt tin and grease thoroughly. I use the paper from the butter packets to do this. Then scoop in your mix and even it out, making sure that it's flat all over. Cover with tin foil. I usually do this to get an even bake, and bake for 45 minutes to 1 hour until a knife comes out clean. Leave to cool in the tin for about 5 minutes, then carefully tip onto a wire wrap. Very, very carefully. While this is cooling, get ready for the decoration. For the buttercream, take 350 grams of butter and add in 350 grams of icing sugar. Blend this in until combined, then add a further 350 grams of icing sugar. Keep mixing this until it becomes a really stiff consistency. A good buttercream should be thick enough to hold its own shape, but still be able to pipe. Now add in half a tablespoon of your whiskey. That's right, more whiskey! If the buttercream is still quite thick, then add 2 to 4 tablespoons of milk, but a wee bit more whiskey, until you reach the desired viscosity. Now take some food dye and dye it green. Scoop into a piping bag with a large star-shaped nozzle on the end and leave to one side. If you're going to keep it in the fridge, be sure to take it out again to warm up to room temperature before you pipe it, as it may be too solid to pipe when it's cold. Now take 250 grams of green Renshaw icing, dust your counter lightly with icing sugar and roll out flat until about 3mm, if not slightly thinner. You'll be using this to make some large holly leaves. To make them, you can either use a pre-bought cutter, but I'm not so lucky. Here's how to makeshift some freehand. With a knife, cut out a leaf shape about 5 to 7 centimeters long, making sure it's wide across the middle, maybe about 1 to 2 centimeters wide. Then slice a curved edge in on either side to give sharp holly-like prickles. Adjust the top and the bottom to neaten up if you need to. Then with the back of the knife, draw a line down the centre with 2 lines coming away from the centre line towards the points. Do this top and bottom. It may look a bit crude, but when it all comes together it works. Make about 24 of these. Now for your bow, take 250 grams of red Renshaw icing, dust your counter lightly with icing sugar and roll into a sausage. Then roll flat to 3mm thick in a long flat strip. Take a 30cm ruler and cut a long strip with the same width as the ruler, and cut the strip in half. Take one half, fold the ends over to meet in the middle, turn over with your join on the bottom, and pinch where the join is, flattening where they meet slightly. Cut a small strip from your other half, about 1 centimeter wide, and flatten ever so slightly so it's slightly longer. Then place into the flattened middle part of your bow. Use this to wrap around to create the knot. Take the other half of your strip and cut in half again. Cut out triangles from one end of each of the mini strips. This will create the ends of your ribbon. Then cut the other end to look slightly tapered. This should look like a basic arrow net. Take the ribbon ends and place your tapered points underneath where they knot on your bow, making sure they are coming out at angles away from each other to look like a finished bow. Finally, with your thumbs, press lightly on either side of the knot on your bow to create creases to look like the ribbon's being cinched slightly. To create further effect, you can push little balls of leftover icing under the edge of the bow to open up the curls. Now take a 12-inch or 30cm cake board and cover using 250 grams of white Renshaw icing. Dust your counter with icing sugar, roll out flat into about 2mm, and then lift off and place on the board. Stick down using some water. If you find it hasn't quite reached the edges in some places, then roll out slightly while still on the board. I do that because it's cheating. Take some of your buttercream and spread a circle on your white icing. Place your now cooled chocolate cake onto the board and get ready to ice. Take your buttercream and pipe small gems to the cake, starting from the bottom outside edge and working your way to the top. When you reach 3/4 of the way up, stop. Then go to the inside of your cake and pipe in the centre, working your way up to the top again. Pipe gems all around the top of the cake to finish off. Now take your holly leaves and place on the top of your cake in groups of 3 or 4, with them coming together at one end and spreading out like a star away from each other. Place them everywhere but one side of your cake. This is where the bow will go. Take your bow and place gently onto the space you have left, making sure the forked ends of the ribbon sit down the side of your cake. Now the finishing touches. Take the leftover red icing and make small balls and place these into the centre of where your green icing holly leaves meet to create the berries. If you feel extra fancy, use a cocktail stick on the bow and 1mm from the edge, create small dots simulating the ribbon edge. Take a real ribbon and wrap around the base of your cake board, attached to double-sided sticky tape, and voila! You are finished. Now it's time for the taste test. Here goes. Oh my god, that's so good.
problem.
You know what it needs though? More whiskey! Don't forget to catch me on my website, colinstimetobake.com, and all the social media. My name is Colin, this is Colin's Time to Bake. Thank you very much, and I'll see you soon.